Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope you all had a good weekend. We've got some more cards to talk about today, starting with a Deathrattle package in DK this time. We have Deathgrowl. Choose a minion, spread its Deathrattle to adjacent minions. We have Bone Shredder, and we have Cagehead, and we have Mosh Pit. So, potential for Deathrattle decks. I've been thinking about how to make this work. Obviously, the most obvious one is a generic Deathrattle deck, but I don't think there's like too many very impactful Deathrattles for DK to really make that pop off. We can have a look here. There aren't really great ones from the new set being introduced in the neutrals, so we kind of have to look at what's remaining. For the class itself, some of these are just like whatever. Don't really do a whole lot. Tempo wise, it's nothing massive, so we kind of got to look at the neutrals. Egg's fine, but do we want to really build a deck around that? Maybe not. At the top end, this thing, but it's hard to cheat out. Invincible, maybe. You could argue. This thing's going. This thing's not too bad, but yeah, it's not like any slam dunk really. The one I thought maybe could be interesting is making a Masked Reveler deck. Several classes in the past have been able to make viable or semi-viable decks using this card plus other Deathrattles. Seeing Deathrattle Rogue, Proving Grounds Demon Hunter, for example. And you could see it maybe working with these cards like Deathgrowl on the Masked Reveler. It's pretty good. Mosh Pit on Masked Reveler is very, very good. Get two of them. Bone Shredder, if you feel like maybe your minions with a lot of Deathrattles, I mean, this is not good with Masked Reveler immediately, but it's good to get afterwards, so it's probably bad because just putting it from the Masked Reveler is too bad. And then you got the Cagehead, which is pretty decent from Reveler. You get a 2/2 with Deathrattle Summon a 9/9. It's kind of similar, actually, to Stoneborn General, but you can go face with the thing, and it doesn't have a rush, so probably worse actually. In the context of that deck, even though you get the charge, just this not having rush is a big deal. Other potentials of the deck, maybe there's like a Mind Lock combo sort of thing. Not Lock, Mind DK now. Where you use obviously Naval Mine as your primary Deathrattle, and you can spread it to other minions, and then you can maybe do Unholy Frenzy, for example, to trigger them all and bring them back. Potentially very, very, very good for face damage. But I mean, the problem I have with this package is I don't think it works that well together. Like the Bone Shredder, for example. Powerful effect, spend 5 corpses to trigger and gain the Deathrattle of a random friendly minion that died this game. If you've got powerful Deathrattles, sure, it's pretty good, but most of the powerful Deathrattles are locked behind expensive cards, like Cagehead or Invincible, etc. So if your deck's designed to play an 8-drop, then cash in on it with a 5-drop afterwards, it's probably too slow. If you go in the Masked Reveler route to cheat things out, again, like I said, the Bone Shredder is not very good from the Reveler. You might have trouble gaining corpses since you have to build your deck in a certain way where you're not playing many minions until turn 6. So to even get the Battlecry off with that, it's not going to work. And if you're just playing like a general deck where you just play Cage Head in it and you're trying to Bone Shredder it, not looking too fantastic. The Deathrattle itself, it could be good with like Infectious School. It's not a bad one because if you get it off, essentially you get a really sticky board if you can pull off this 6-mana combo. It's pretty nice. Like normally when you do this card in other Deathrattle decks, they just kill off the other minions, then and then kill this. But if you do the combo of this, they can't really actually do that because you're always getting multiple ghouls out, which is pretty nice. So maybe there's some potential there with that, and that could work with the Bone Shredder as well because this is pretty good to proc on the ghoul as well. Mosh Pit as another location for DK. 3 corpses to give for any minion reborn. It's pretty good tempo. We've seen that in Priest with the 0-mana spell. The thing with this one is it's not 0 mana. It's 2 to set it up, and you need the 3 corpses. So early on, pretty hard to get this working. So I don't think it's like a great general purpose location. You just really need to be using it on high value things without reborn already, and like I guess Infectious School will be okay, but the main ones are like Deathrattles, and this one really seems like the best for it. I don't know whether that would make the best deck though. Kind of an interesting package. The Cage Head itself, I don't know if this is that good. I think it's kind of bad. I mean, standalone it is bad. You compare this to Marigar for Unholy. 8 mana 5/1 that summons a 9/9 Blightboar. It just doesn't compare to Marigar by any means. You're really looking for the synergies for this, but I mean the problem is it's just so expensive. This, and then you have other minions and you can spread the Deathrattle, sure. This into this, sure. It's just so slow. You're gonna get frozen, you're gonna be dead before you play it. It just, to me, it seems really bad right now, unless I'm missing something. But yeah. Some potential. I think like the Death Growl itself is probably a pretty decent card. I just can't see all of them working together. Alright, next we have some Demon Hunter cards. Now these were revealed by BabyBear on her channel, and I was actually in the video as well. So if you haven't seen it already, check it out. It's a pretty funny reveal video. I'll link it down below. We got 4 cards: Security, Rush the Stage, Halveria Darkraven, and Snakebite. So all Rush themed. Security is a new Outcast card, and looking like Outcast synergy decks for Demon Hunter are actually going to be pretty good. Summon 2 1/1 Eldari Rush, Outcast summon 1 more. So if you have the Outcast, 3 1/1s for 2 mana is actually pretty fine. It's useful in all stages of the game, I would say, unless you've got like too much board occupied by other minions. But this has some really good synergies with other cards within the deck. Snakebite, Rush, Battlecry, gain +1/+1 for each minion that died this turn. 2 mana 1/1 Naga. So if you outcast your security, get 3 1/1s. Say you trade them into a 3/3. That's 4 minions that died. Then this is a 2 mana 5/5 with Rush. It's not too bad. For 4 mana, 5/5 with Rush and kill 3 health. It's pretty decent. Also Rush the Stage. This card is very good, I think. Tutor effect that also discounts and card draw. Yeah, it's just got all the markings of a very good card, and this actually allows a lot of nice tutor effects. Well, good thing we're on this, because this is actually a potential as well. Master Reveler deck, they are losing Proving Grounds for Demon Hunter, but they do have Z-Lag still, and they do have Neptulon. So you could see a Masked Reveler style Demon Hunter using this new card, because you draw this Masked Reveler and discount it to 5 mana, suddenly coming down on turn 5 is pretty powerful. One downside I would say is you do want to run Neptulon in that deck, but the Neptulon itself has Rush. So yeah, you don't want to have him in the pool, because Rush the Stage is going to draw him, and you can't get him through Masked Reveler. So a little awkward there. Maybe that deck's not really going to take off. But the probably more promising use for it could use this. It's a maybe, but really this one is very good to get. And you also, is it 6 mana now? Yes, 6 mana now. Vengeful Walloper also very good in combination with the other one. So if you run a deck with just these two and these two as your only rush minions, 4 is probably fine. Maybe 5 at pinch, like you put one in one of these. It is totally reasonable. You're going to get a very nice tutor effect. So this is you're gonna draw this for 0 mana a lot of the time. It's going to be outcast a lot of the time because of the way draw works, and it's going to let you chain your outcast effects really effectively and get a lot of tempo out of it. You can also do really nice setup turns where you push a lot of tempo on the turn afterwards. So say you've got 1 to 2 0 mana ones of these, then you can chain that into your other outcast effects, like the Sigil Runners, like Wayward Sage, which then chains into other things to make them cheaper. And if you're doing this the whole time while you've got this, you're going to generate a lot of value, a lot of tempo. It's going to be pretty good. And then you can discount your Wallopers a lot and get them down really cheap. So it's all working really nice together. Plus, they have this card, the Glaivetar, which really cares about you playing outcast cards. So doing this big setup turn is really nice. And of course security as well. Like you can imagine a turn where you rush the stage, draw your 0 cost outcast cards, play them, it makes this 1 mana. Suddenly you're like killing so much on board, and you maybe even play this as well. I'm a bit more skeptical on this one because it's pretty situational, and it benefits a lot more if your opponent's playing a minion-based deck, which not every deck is. But you can imagine doing a big pop-off turn. Plus, all that good synergy there also works really nice with a strong neutral card from the previous set. Hawkstrider Rancher. So you could do a setup turn where you play Rush the Stage, then you play Rancher and all your cheap Rush minions afterwards, and then it's going to be a really good 1-2 sort of punch for the early game. So all pretty nice. I'm less keen on running this card, to be honest, because it is situational and it is a rush minion. So if you play this, you kind of make your rush the stage worse. It's kind of a bit like Prescience and Shaman. You didn't want to run too many big minions because you wanted to get the null often. It's going to be pretty similar, I think, within this deck. You want to probably have about 5 as the sweet spot and make them the strongest ones you can get. And I don't think this one makes the cut. This legendary might make the cut. Rush. After a friendly rush minion attacks, give your minions +1 attack. Very threatening for a lot of damage if you have rush minions already ready on board, or you have other minions on board ready to hit face, and you can combo it with security. You're gonna kind of bloodlust your board, and that might be powerful enough to play just as a finisher. It's not like too bad of a card. 4/3 with rush. I mean, it's not fantastic on its own, so it's more like a finisher. You can sort of trade up a bit sometimes with security because of comboing with this, especially because you're playing this, Rush the Stage is often going to discount this to 3 mana, and your security might be discounted to 1 mana from Illidari Studies, or from the 1 mana 2/1 Rush with Outcast as well. So it might not be that expensive of a combo to combine this with security. I don't know. It's a maybe on this one. The damage output potential might be just too high that you want to be running it, just so you can finish off decks, and you're not purely based on your board damage only, which sometimes just doesn't get there. Overall, I think it's a really good package. Rush the Stage is going to enable just a lot. I think security is also good, particularly because of the introduction of Illidari Studies. Less keen on Snakebite, to be honest, but really good stuff for Demon Hunter. We also have a legendary spell for Mage. Infinitize the Maxitude. 2 mana, discover a spell. Finale, return this to your hand at the end of turn. So 2 mana to discover a spell is pretty terrible. Standalone, I mean, this is infinite value, technically. So that's the good part of it, but you saw Rune Orb, which was 2 mana, deal 2, discover a spell, and that was like, not that great. So you can imagine this is quite a bit worse. You get to go again and again and again, but the problem is to get it back, you have to finale it, which you're not going to be able to do all the time. And what's more is you don't get to play the spell on the same turn. So if you need to look for an answer on your turn, which often you do when you're trying to discover, like if you have a good play, you just do it normally. You're not going to get the infinite effect of this, so how good really is it? I think it might be kind of bad. Unless the meta becomes really, really slow, where this sort of infinite value is kind of necessary for mirrors, because there isn't the hero card anymore for Mage, so there needs to be something that helps them in the late game, probably. Right now, I don't know. I think it's weak without the proper support. We haven't seen most of Mage set, so maybe there's something nice that supports this. But for now, kind of bad. Does have some potential in Casino Mage, because all the stuff that you discover you can replay with the 9-drop at the end, but yeah, for now, kind of bad. Same for DJ Mana Storm. I think both of these kind of bad. Mage's got to have something big up their sleeve. Alright, Paladin as well. Got some cards. We have Spotlight, Funkfin, and Jitterbug. Spotlight, big card people talking about. 2 mana, tradable, convert a friendly Divine Shield into a 5/5 elemental holy. So, Paladin 1-drops, they're keeping this card and this card. So that's 4 1-drops already. You can play even in pure Paladin to trigger the effect. You could also play this one as well if you're going for a non-pure route, and then that's like a lot of ways where you can have the turn 2 5/5, provided you have the Divine Shield. That's pretty strong. Pretty strong play. A lot of tempo. Also, you can combine this with Starlight Groove. Give your hero Divine Shield for the rest of the game playing it. A Holy Spell refreshes it. So if you have a Divine Shield on your face, you can use a Spotlight to get rid of the Divine Shield, and then you actually get the Divine Shield back after making the 5/5, because Spotlight itself is a Holy Spell. The more I'm seeing this set, the less I believe in the Starlight Groove, actually. I think it's just like kind of bad tempo to go for this. I don't know. I mean, the Spotlight itself is like maybe a way to recover that tempo, so maybe it can work out. But I'm just seeing, you kind of want this in a control style, but I'm just not really seeing the late game win con for the control style to really work out. And also, there's not really great tutor effects to find the board clears anymore. So a little bit skeptical on this card working out as well because of that. This one I think might work out. So if you're going first, it's pretty easy to land this on your 1-drop. If you're going second, less so, but you can always do it on like your turn 3, play the 1-drop and spotlight immediately, get a 5/5 and a weakened 1-drop. That's pretty decent. If you're going second though, and like you play your Divine Shield 1-drop on 1, there's, especially if this card's known to be meta, they're probably going to pop your Divine Shield. A lot of the time, like. It might just be enough tempo though. You just use it at some stage in the game and it's fine. I mean, it has tradable, but you probably don't want to trade it that much. Vindicator's leaving, so we don't have the downside of playing a spell that's maybe situational from Vindicator ruining the pool. So, I mean, yeah. I can see it. I can see it being decent. In Pure Pally, particularly. We've got Funkfin now. Divine Shield, your minions with Divine Shield have +2 attack. It's like Warhorse Trainer for Divine Shield minions. This is Divine Shield itself, so it is a 4/2 while it has its Divine Shield. 3 mana for 4/2 Divine Shield is like okay, but it's not really a 4/2 Divine Shield. It's more like 4/2 if they don't have a ping. Yeah, I guess that's how you can look at it. I don't know if there's enough Divine Shields to make this really, really good, but it is pretty strong with like all the 1-drops. 1-drop into, and they don't have any thing for it, and you coin this. Decent. Like you get to trade up into their minion most likely, or push a lot of face damage. And if you're against a deck that AFKs on the board for the first couple turns, like a slower control deck, this is gonna push a lot with those 1-drops. You go like 1-drop into this, you're suddenly pushing 4 damage, and you have a 4/2 Divine Shield that they need to kind of deal with, otherwise you're going to push more damage, so pretty nice for aggressive styles against AFK decks. I just worry a bit against the non-AFK decks, it might be a bit weaker. But I don't know, Warhorse Trainer itself is pretty decent card in Dude Pally, so this one kind of casts a broader stroke on what it affects, so maybe it's actually pretty good. I'm a bit skeptical though, because the 3 mana 4/2 Divine Shield is not a great card, as we've seen already. We've got Sharon Mooncatcher, which looks like a really good card, but it's just not. It's just mega slow. This one's like a bit faster, but also a bit weaker in some ways, so yeah, not sure. Jitterbug, 4 mana 4/3 beast, Divine Shield. After a friendly character loses Divine Shield, draw a card. Like I was talking about cards being slow. 3 mana for 4/2 Divine Shield is slow. 4 mana for similar minion is also really, really slow. Now this technically draws you a card itself eventually if you trade the Divine Shield off. And it could draw you a lot of cards if you've already got a lot of Divine Shields and if you've got trades to pop them off. But I think this only sees play if you need the card draw. Pure Paladin, for instance, might not need it. They already have Purator as a card draw. They already have Order in the Court, which kind of Order in the Court kind of meets all their value needs because you can just get your top end with it. So don't know if this is really needed in the deck. It is a beast that you can draw from the Purator, but you kind of don't want a beast in the pool because you'd rather draw your Light Rays, I think. Maybe one beast in the pool is fine, but I just don't think this minion is that strong. Only required if you really need the card draw. There's obviously Lithraction as well going into the core set, so potential for dudes to get a lot of Divine Shields, so you can use this with the dudes to draw a lot. Maybe there's some potential in there just because that deck's maybe a bit easier to get a lot of Divine Shields and proc them. But I don't think this is that good of a card. I think it's a bit slow. It's not got rush. It's very slow actually. So I don't know. I think I'm a bit less keen on some of these cards than most people. I think Jitterbug maybe might be the weakest of them. But that's just me. Anyway, guys, I think that's all the cards for now. We're going to be doing more card reviews as more get revealed in the week. So thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. It's a bit early in the morning, so apologies if my thoughts weren't very brief. I mean, that sentence there just summed up the whole video, I think. Anyway, see you guys in the next one.